some time I have succeeded in removing the protective foam encasement, which I happen to have with me right here. Now, on closer inspection, we can possibly assume that this may in fact be the head of some kind, if it is an extraterrestrial life form that we originally assumed to be. And unfortunately, upon other things, I've noticed that it tends to give off a quite large sound wave. I can only afford to be at this level away from this thing, because otherwise this could cause some serious damage if I even increase my voice tone even the slightest bit. So as of now, we will conduct more tests, but they will have to be a little bit more gentle compared to the first time. For one touch, it feels as though there was quite a rigid texture. We may even be able to assume that this to be some kind of brain. With the way it has been structured, it's truly fascinating. I would just like to spend the next few minutes just giving a slight touch. But it's truly fascinating how, even at this far away from this thing, my voice seems to go through quite easily. Now, if we assume this to be an actual alien life form, it is quite concerning that if the protective casing is removed, what are the chances that it may be sending out quite a strong sound wave in order to contact its leaders or its creators? If even a human voice can reach it from this far away so easily, what does that say for whatever it belongs to in outer space? Of course, with the gloves, we don't want to touch this with bare hands. There's no telling what this may involve. It could be some kind of poison, venom, some kind of the sorts. Unfortunately, throughout the time I've been doing various tests without the recording, I haven't had such luck of that either, and yet we have still managed to conduct successful tests, considering we have managed now to remove the protective casing, so perhaps it means that we are reaching some kind of to a solution of sorts. But to start off with, I would like to use this protective coating. I would just like to see if we have some kind of reaction. If I just... It should be, if this is alive, it should be used to the idea of this going over its head, as we presume. So perhaps the confusion of stripping it away at the last minute will lead it to give some kind of response. And of course, during the time I've been testing this, after the first session, there has been no sign of any kind of contact from anything outside of our planet. Again, it could simply be that we are wasting our time, but considering this fell from the sky on some kind of ship that has been salvaged, it's impossible to tell exactly what to expect. It can't simply be a coincidence. I will be trying various different pair of methods here to see if there is some kind of reaction. But, of course, as luck would have it, there is no such luck at the moment. And so I will move on to the next thing. Now that we have removed the protective casing, perhaps this will lead more of a reaction. We'll start off with one and then move on to two. The interesting thing is, sound produces specifically toward the left and the right, as if it were its ears. Very interesting. I presumed that with such a strong sound wave, this would prove to be a little bit too irritating, but apparently not. Let's try two here. This one is a little bit smaller. Maybe able to get into those more smaller sections. Some different brushes here, similar, but these two are roughly the same, so we'll try some faster motions and see if this makes any kind of difference. just as expected. No response. Very well then. We'll try another method. Different bristles with different textures. Maybe this will heed some results. As though perhaps the sound value has increased a little bit. Would this be a possible sign of a response? Is it enjoying it? Is it hating it? Has it sent out a distress call? So, although we have removed the sound about the protective layer, I would like to try and see if it reacts to when there is sound producing from all around itself. Of course, my own voice is muffled rather slightly. Perhaps this will force it to wake up if we assume that it sleeps. perhaps it would respond better by passing this around the head instead. Maybe the last one was a bit too intense, so this would give it space to breathe, perhaps. Well then, that's fine. I have other methods. If it doesn't respond to anything that would resemble some kind of helmet or another kind of protective layer, what if it responds more to sensitivity, more environmental style? Now that it seems rather bare, assuming that this is the head, it maybe just needs to simply cool down. Apparently not. Maybe. What are the chances that it may have a pair of eyes that we seem to be missing here? So perhaps just a little bit of a scan and the sense of touch might yield some results here. On a closer look, you can really tell just how textured this head is. Whatever did work on this was really specific. They really wanted this for something. Such an interesting way of shaping it. An interesting way of causing a pattern. Again, of course, it must be due to the sound. This texture, this pattern would yield some results in terms of sound. Let's try a different color. this should be a little bit more gentle. Just a simple white light. Surely it must be familiar with a simple white light. Apparently not. Unfortunately, it appears that I am out of test. There was only so much we can do when Detective Lear is gone, and the sound quality is of this magnitude. If we talk any higher, talk any louder, it will of course could potentially damage this item, or scare off whatever it belongs to. Detective recording will have to unfortunately be put back on, and we will either have to call it here, or I will lead the investigation into someone else, until anything else has happened, until anything truly more bizarre is transpired. We cannot do much here, so that we'll have to do, I'm afraid. Before I go, we'd just like to do just a quick measurement here to see if anything has changed. Yes, I see. It is truly an exceptional size, that's for certain. Interesting. Just one more. I would just like to try with this one. This one is a little bit more flexible if you can really get in there. I see, yes. Well, with that, I have all I need, unfortunately. This is a disappointing result, but it will have to do for now. I'm afraid we must end the recording. Perhaps in the future we will have more results.